Hello, it's me, Nathan. Do you struggle applying music theory to your instrument? Are you tired of playing the same 4 chords on your guitar? Or maybe that chord progression you wrote out just doesn't sound quite right. Well, stick around. In this video, I'm going to show you how I go from instrument to music theory. Let's get started. Okay, so it's best to show through example. So here I have a chord progression that sounds like this. So the first thing to do is to figure out all the letters of the notes that you're playing for each individual chord. The way that I did this for the guitar is I tuned my guitar to standard C tuning, and so that means your strings are going to be C, F, A sharp, D sharp, G, and C. From there, on each chord, I count up the number of frets that I am from the open note. Let me show you on the guitar itself. So, the first chord that I'm playing is 3 on the first string, 2 on the second string, and 3 on the third string. Just like this. Which is how you'll see most guitar tabs written in numbers, which is your finger placement on the fret. Now, every fret is a half step in terms of pitch. So that means from C, we go C sharp, D, and then D sharp. So I write D sharp down because that's where my finger is, on the 3rd fret. Rinse and repeat for all of the other chords that are in your progression. This also works for melodies too. So let's say you've written a melody in Ableton's piano roll. Just write out it'll have it written out for you, but you can always write it down on like a piece of paper or something like that. So the second thing to do, once you have your collection of notes, is to make a list of all of the notes that show up. So in this case, it's D sharp, G, A sharp, C, G sharp, F, and D. And all I did to get this list was just go through all of the chords and write down the letter of the note that appears. Next, we take this list of letters and we go over to a piano keyboard. We're just looking at 1 octave on the piano keyboard. I'll pull one up on the screen for you guys to look at, but I always keep one in my notebook. From your list of notes, place a marker down on every single key that appears in your list. Okay, so for example, this one, C shows up, so I'll put a marker here. D shows up, so does D sharp, so does F, G, G sharp, A, and then I'll put C again. From here, the next step is to count from your lowest note the whole and half steps between each of the keys. So starting from C to D, we have a whole step. From D to D sharp, we have a half step. From D sharp to F, it's another whole step. F to G is a whole step, G to G sharp is a half step, G sharp to A sharp is a whole step, and A sharp to C is a whole step again. This gives you your scale pattern, as I call it, which is basically your list in the order that your whole and half steps appear. So now you can go online and you can look up a list of all of the available, like all of the scale patterns. Find the one that matches your pattern, okay? In this instance, our pattern lines up with the natural minor mode. So now we have the mode of our arrangement here. So the next thing to do is to figure out what key it is in. Well, this is pretty straightforward. The key is just the note that you're starting your counting from. So in this case, it was C, right? We started from C, so that means that this is a C minor arrangement. And from here, the world is your oyster. Okay, let's summarize. The first thing you want to do is you want to make a collection of all the notes that are in your chord progression or melody. Second, make a list of all of the notes that appear in that collection. Third, take that list and map that out to a single octave onto the keyboard. Fourth, count the whole and half steps between each of your markers to get your scale pattern. And finally, take that scale pattern, compare it to the chart that I showed you earlier on in the video to find the mode that your scale is in. And the key is just the starting point or the starting note that you started your counting from. One thing I want to make absolutely clear, this is not a guaranteed method to find the exact key or scale or the exact key that your song is in. What this does is it finds the scale and gets you into the ballpark of the music theory. There's still more groundwork that you have to cover if you want to find the exact key. Like for example, in this song, the actual key is in D sharp major, which I found by using a chord lookup tool or like a reverse chord lookup tool like this one. And then going on to like musictheory.net to reverse engineer the chord progression to find which one it fit the best, right? And it ended up just being D sharp major. The other thing you can do with this technique is if you have a chord progression but you don't have a melody, all of those notes that you've marked out onto the keyboard are notes that you can start playing around with to make a melody, because it's still going to be within the relative scale that you're in. So you'll find something out of it. If you have a melody, you can, but you were looking for a chord progression for this, what you can do is you can take for example, this was C minor, right? Go and Google C minor chords, and it'll give you a list of all of the chords that are available to you in C minor, and just start picking them out, play around with them, see how they sound. You know, you can start moving things around, seeing which ones you like more than others, because the chords in D sharp major and the chords in C minor are the same. They just have different degrees or different positions that they're played in the song is all, but they're still the same chords. So now you have a list of all the chords that you can play around with. Now just go and play around with them and see what you like. Thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to make it this far into the video. If this helped you out, please give it a like. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. But I wanted to leave this fairly open-ended for you guys so that you can kind of adapt it into your workflow. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. And final announcement is this Friday, February 28th, I will be releasing my very first independent EP thing at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Happy music making.